Seek value. Seek godly men and women. These are the people that will give you true power. These are the people that will help you become what God wants you to be, which is the greatest thing. And this is why it's so important that our community is starting to build Chinese culture, and our kids who are training. I told the kids yesterday, hey, you kids got to be thinking about, getting to law enforcement. Get into politics. We have to change this world by changing the local communities. If we have political officials and people in those positions that have the values of sovereignty and godliness, they could bring back shooting class and Second Amendment class to public schools, for example. That used to be done in public schools. They used to teach how Lisa Ellenson learned how to shoot in school. You could teach gun safety. You could teach, hunting. You could have fishing trips for kids. You could teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to bully-proof the children so that they're not eaten up by predators, and predators get all the accolades and all the praise. But flip that so the predators are beat down and they're made low. You could introduce competition and tax credits so that people could use the voucher system to choose whether or not they want to send their school to public school, private school, or homeschool, and use that tax credit for that. We could implement and institute and start bringing in these different options for people. So they're not just forced to be brainwashed in a social engineered Marxist brain camp, which is literally owned by the state. But you can only do that by taking local control, in a civilized society. Other than all-out civil war, which of course we don't want. But of course, which George Soros and the Satanists want. We want peace and stability. And we live in a country where the people's voices can be heard if they go and run for office, volunteer, and take control. They can take America back. Build Chinese culture right here, right now. Help empower young people as they're getting brainwashed to become awakened. To bring back the combat arts into school. To bring back the self-defense arts into school. To bring back gun safety. If they're so scared about gun violence, teach kids how to use guns. Oh, we're so scared that people will have car accidents. Thus, we want to get rid of all cars. Why don't you just teach people how to drive safely? But we could start instituting, implementing these things. Helping farmers get permission to open businesses on their farms. Helping local farmers to sell their produce locally without going through USDA and FDA factories, which are basic government-run factories with monopolies that go to just pad their pockets. Did you know that in order to sell milk in this country, you have to go through a USDA, FDA-approved, factory, which basically means it's a government factory? That's how they keep monopolies. Imagine if the local farmer could just squeeze the milk out of the udder and sell it locally without any danger of being destroyed by the federal government or be put out of business. It's only us in Chinese culture that's going to fight for these people. It's only us that's going to stand for sovereignty and for Chinese culture and God's culture. It's only us. We're the only ones. Christians are brainwashed in state churches, told not to get politically involved. It's only completely Testament people who know the kingdom gospel, who know that they have to be co-heirs with Christ in the kingdom, who will fight for them. It's only you that will do it. So I was telling this to the kids. You guys got to think about getting into law enforcement. Get into, changing the culture of even law enforcement. Humbly Humbly, of course. We don't want militarized police all over the place. We want friendly cops, most of which are in this area, but still, we want the friendly type of old school cop that would walk around and greet Mrs. Abadale and greet Mrs. Johnson and greet et cetera, walk around the neighborhood. Not patrol the neighborhood with some black Batmobile freaking thing out of A Nightmare on Elm Street to intimidate people. If you have an armed citizenry, you don't need to intimidate criminals. They all know if they come in, they get killed. If they try to do some kind of burglary in the house, they will die. Grandma's going to come out with a 12 gauge and blow their freaking head off. So you don't have to drive around about black Batmobiles to intimidate them. All you have to do is have a high population of civilian, peacefully people, militia, armed people, which of course we already have. So there's no need for scary looking cop cars. We already have the lowest crime rate in the world here. One of the